Hello, hello, hello. Let's make sure that sound everywhere is working. Make sure I can hear myself. Yes, I can. Perfect. It is Evie, aka Rinra, aka the most banned queen on Twitch. Welcome to the Cheugy show, where it is trendy to be not trendy, because that's just the way we roll here. Nothing at all wrong with not being maybe as hip as some other people. But here we are. We have the latest Twitter files, and before we get too deeply into that, I wanna talk a little bit about 1776 RM and Ant-Man, aka Jury Nullification. Real life name is Scott. It's horrible that I cannot think about what his last name here is at the moment. I've kind of lost whatever all is going on there. I know that there's a lot of times that they're having to go to court over their issues with the political group 1776 RM. I like Scotty. I think he's a cool dude. He can be very charismatic. I used to like Anarchy Princess, and it's not that I don't like her. It's just that I have questions about some of the things that she has chosen to do, and just some of her actions in general. And I don't feel like it helps to accomplish their goal when when they are on live stream appearing to threatening people. And apparently that video got shared around, and it supposedly, allegedly, it kind of upset Ant. The conspiracy Ant was sharing this video of AP being really upset with Dom about something, pretty conspiracy Ant. And I had a whole long conversation with somebody about this issue. I do not like 1776 RM. I am very suspicious of everything that they do. There are some various accusations about AP that I'm not really sure that I can really go along with and say, yeah, it's true, because I don't feel like people are doing a very good job of backing up what it is that they're trying to say. There is accusations that apparently she is involved in prostitution, things of that nature, and that it involves underage children. What I do believe about this, whatever you agree or think about Ashley Babbitt, her family still has a right to mourn her loss. And she and Anarchy Princess for sure lost me with everything that's going on with 1776 RM when she decided to destroy a little semi-rough memorial that they had put up along some fencing. In Ashley's honor, there was some flowers put up there, and she posted a video of herself stomping on them and saying just some mean things about Ashley Babbitt. Her family and the people who knew her have the right to mourn her. There was this actor on Glee that passed away, that they killed themselves. And they were accused of doing some very horrible things. They had some inappropriate pictures on their computer. And just before he was, I think, supposed to get sentenced for that, he killed himself. And there was another actress on that show that she had a relationship with him. She was close with him. They had been friends at one point. And she was like, posted something on Twitter, I think, about saying how she missed him. And people just really came out with her that he did some horrible, disgusting things. But at the end of the day, she is processing the man that she knew with his actions. And I guess, we as people, we can debate, does an asshole like this deserve to be mourned? Does he deserve to be missed? Yeah, we can debate that. That's fine, but I don't have anything, I don't believe that, their family should be, either any of their friends or their family should be attacked personally for mourning the loss of someone that they loved and someone that they cared about. And that's the same with Ashley Babbitt. They knew her personally. They had a long, there's people that had a long-standing relationship with her, and they have a right to mourn her, both publicly and privately. And to me, you don't go and you just don't destroy the memorials of people. As to whether or not some of you might believe that Ant and AP have become paid actors, I mean, they have donors. They have people that donate them through various Venmo or whatever, and they have people that send them money. Whether or not everything that they do now is becoming about money, I don't know what to tell you about that. I just know that the term paid actors is something that kind of gets just thrown around a lot. I haven't been following them too much lately, and I'm probably not going to continue to, because too much of it is just evolving into he said, she said. And they don't do a very good job at going through this Twitter thread that I am now, that kind of lays everything out and helps you connect the dots. They just kind of keep telling you, connect the dots, follow the money. You gotta help people out a little bit, because I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know how to follow the money. I don't know what it is that I'm looking for proof of anymore. I just don't. But the Twitter files is a little bit different, because we have professional people that understand how to thread a story together and to keep people captivated and to get people to pay attention to what's going on. So let's go through these Twitter files. Let's go through the latest here. I'm not sure if Matt Taibbi is done posting this. Let's go through this. Let's see if he is. See how many we got here. I'm starting a little bit late. Okay, so he's done a total of 24 Twitter file. Researchers are moving into a variety of new areas now. Watch Barry Wise, Schellenberger, and this makes one more soon. So there is more coming, and he apparently is finally done. He ended about, let's see what time this was. It took such freaking. My only complaint about this is how long it can take them to get through this. So let's see what time this last tweet was posted. All we got here is all these freaking. So it's 6:17 p.m. and this last one was posted at 4 p.m. It's been done for 2 hours. I did not realize that. Okay. But it took I think about an hour for him to just post it all, and that's kind of wild, I think. But so yes, the Twitter files they are very good at putting forward a story here that kind of captivates everybody and gets everybody's attention and gets everybody talking. So we're just going to go through this and I'll just give you some thoughts about it. We're also going to look at something called the Ruby files. A woman that kind of got butthurt over how they're doing this. And oh my word, she threw some serious shade. But first, let's go through this. All right. Twitter files are revealing more every day about how the government collects, analyzes, and flags your social media content. Twitter contacts with the FBI was constant and pervasive as if it were a subsidiary. Yes, it was. See, there are some things that, they share about this and you kind of going, well, I mean, it's kind of a private company. We have given them the right under our laws to kind of curate content, decide what can be posted. But then there are some things that you go, there is a judge somewhere that's saying, holy fuck, this is going to wind up in my courtroom. And they aren't looking forward to it. Not at all. Because they're going, what is this fuckery that I'm going to have to deal with in my courtroom? It all hasn't even started yet, and they're already ticked off. Because they're going, oh! Somewhere, yes, there is a lawyer that is not. There are lawyers, and there are other people that are not having a fun time right now. They are not having a fun time because they're going, crap, this is going to wind up in my courtroom. And I hate it so much. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with it winding up in their courtroom. I'm trying to find the best way to lay all this out here. I guess this is going to be the best way to do it. Okay. But it's pervasive as if it were a subsidiary. Yeah, it's wild. It raises all kinds of ethical questions. It really does. Between January 2020 and November 2022, there were over 150 emails between the FBI and former Twitter Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Now, here's the thing. I can understand the FBI specifically contacting them if there's absolutely something that truly does break the law and saying, hey, we need to keep this under wraps, or, you got to do something about this. This is really going to get somebody hurt. But the question becomes, was it breaking the law? Was it? Was anything that they were being asked to handle, was it breaking the law? Was it really endangering something? And that's something that we're going to end up asking the courts to decide at some point. Some more mundane, yeah. Like San Francisco agent Elvis Chan wishing Roth a happy new year, along with a reminder to attend our quarterly call next week. Others are requests for information to Twitter users related to active investigations. And, that is something that you can do. Now, typically what you have to have, though, they have to give you kind of a court order saying you're required to hand over this information to us. You can't just be constantly asking them to hand over private information from their users. That's usually not a good idea, and it usually ends up not being a good look. But were they doing that? Let's find out. But a surprisingly high number are requests by the FBI for Twitter to take action on election misinformation, and even involving joke tweets from low follower accounts. Remember how Elon was saying that, like, jokes or whatever, comedy is legal on Twitter now? Was it sometimes not being treated as legal? The FBI social media focused task force known as FTIF, created in the wake of the 2016 election, swelled to 80 agents and corresponded with Twitter to identify alleged foreign influence and alleged tampering of all kinds. But I mean, here's the thing. Like, can we necessarily, argue or prove that some of that is not needed? That it's not a good idea for them to necessarily have these, because, I mean, there could be instances where we may need them to step in and do some things. I don't know. It's interesting, to try to figure out what is the line and that sort of thing. Hold on one second here. I'm not like an electrical security expert, but I think that there could be times where the FBI might do some things related to election interference that could be good. But where does that line end? That's the $1 million question for me, is where does the line end? I think that's a fair and interesting question to ask. Federal intelligence and law enforcement reach into Twitter, including the Department of Homeland Security, which partnered with security contractors and think tanks to pressure Twitter to moderate content. It's just not a good look. And again, and these are one of those things where somewhere there is a judge somewhere that is safe. fuck this is going to wind up in my courtroom. But should it be Twitter's responsibility and Twitter's job to have to protect people from overreach of the government? They shouldn't have to do that. Social media companies shouldn't be responsible for trying to protect you from overreach of the government, because the government shouldn't be overreaching to be fucking in with. And if we're going to be relying on them to protect us, and these are human people that are fallible, they're going to screw up. And they did screw up. It's no secret that the government analyzes bulk data for all sorts of purposes, everything from tracking terrorist events to making economic forecasts. That makes sense. You understand why they would want to track terrorist suspects, and try to keep on top of it. So, some of it makes sense. The Twitter file shows something new. Agencies like the FBI and DHS regularly sending social media content to Twitter through multiple entry points, pre-flagged for moderation. Oh, my word. It gets complicated for the government to try to step in and say, this is what needs to be flagged, and this is what doesn't need to get flagged. Because Twitter is not acting as a private company that's making that decision for themselves. Somebody else is coming on and saying, this is what you should be doing, and this is how you should be doing it. That's a problem. What stands out is the sheer quantity of reports from the government. Some are aggravated from public hotlines. Election Day protocol for FBI headquarters is to stand up a national election command post, which provides a centralized location for assessing election-related threats. Status reports and complaints are tracked. Have a tip, send it to tips.fbi.gov. I mean, yeah, if there was something that, would be a threat to human life, you knew somebody was planning that, you should probably call that number. Say something. See something, say something. I know they had questions. Do agencies like the FBI and DHS do in-house finding work themselves or farm it out? You have to prove to be that inside the fucking government you can do any kind of massive data or AI search, says one former intelligence officer. Do agencies like the FBI and DHS do in-house flagging work themselves or farm it out? Hello, Twitter contest. The master canine quality of the FBI's master canine quality of the FBI's relationship to Twitter comes through in this November 2022 email, in which the FBI of San Francisco is notifying you it wants on action on 4 accounts. Based on what? And was there a court order saying, excuse me, these people are doing something bad and somebody is going to be harmed if you don't do something about it? Was there anything like that? What is the reason that they felt that something needed to be done about these accounts? So that to me is the issue here. But yeah. So in my opinion, like, unless you have a court order saying these accounts are doing something illegal and somebody is in immediate danger unless you do something, why should Twitter be allowed to just tell? Why should the FBI just be allowed to tell Twitter, you need to do something about these accounts? Like, it's wild that's legal. And am I not the only one that thinks it's wild that that's legal? I think that's wild. But okay. And again, somewhere there's a judge that is saying, fuck! This is going to wind up in my courtroom. This is going to wind up in my room. Because the stupid formal orders of Twitter just could not behave themselves. They just couldn't do it. Twitter personnel in that case went on to look for reasons to suspend all 4 accounts. They weren't even, they needed to look for a reason. This email that we're showing is they weren't even given a reason. They had to look for it. Twitter personnel in that case went on to look for reasons to suspend all 4 accounts, including Froma, whose tweets are almost all jokes, see sample below, including his specific and misinformation. Thanks, Patrick. I've escalated to GET for a first pass. FBI folks, I reviewed this already from the TD perspective, suspended 3 of the accounts for multi-account abuse and ban evasion violations. Could you please review from MA for possible sick misinformation or direct the appropriate part of GET for the review? Thanks, Patrick. Wow. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. I want to remind Republicans to vote tomorrow, Wednesday, November 9th. Yeah. He's been a little cheeky there. He's being a little cheeky. But, yay, the FBI doesn't fool around when it comes to jokes, people. We take this shit seriously. Just to show the FBI can be hyper-intrusive in both directions, they also asked Twitter to review a blue-leading account for a different joke, except here it was even more obvious that Claire Foster, PhD, who kids a lot, was kidding. Hey, Twitter contest. FBI San Francisco is notifying you of the below account activities which may constitute violations of Twitter's terms of service or any action or indication deemed appropriate within Tiller policy. Thank you, Catherine. Private Sector Engagement Squad, PSES. What the heck is? Oh my goodness. Twitter poster by user @Byron's_Wade, display name Ultra MAGA, say the following: Americans vote today, Democrats you vote Wednesday night. Again, they're being a little cheeky here. I guess the FBI doesn't like it when people are being cheeky. Twitter Claire Foster, PhD, claimed in her post that she is a ballot counter in her state. And an additional post states, for every negative comment on this post, I'm adding another vote for the Democrats. And if you're not wearing a mask, I'm not counting your vote. I think it's possible that even people on the right had a problem with that one. I think I may have heard about this once before. And I don't know. This one, obvious joke. This one, what are people supposed to think when they read that? These are two very different things, in my opinion. I don't know. She may have been joking, but some people I think who read that was, see, this is proof. This is proof that they're being underhanded when it comes to the election. And the thing is it's like, how are you supposed to know that she's joking? How the hell are you supposed to know that? You can't. You don't have a crystal ball into what these people are thinking. So, I mean, at least, I guess that they were being fair. But it's just so wildly variant. To me, these two are two very different things. And it's probably not a good idea to be telling people that you're a vote counter in your state if you're not. I don't know why you would go on Twitter and say you're not going to count people's votes if you're, I don't know. Anyone who cannot discern obvious satire from reality has no place making decisions for others or working for the feds, said Claire Foster, PhD, when told about flagging. Okay, so she is saying that it is satire. But I think that, I think there was definitely a lot of people that looked at those tweets and didn't know what to make of the comment like that. Especially when people are just so hypersensitive on the internet. They just are. The 6 accounts mentioned in the previous 2 emails, all but 2, Claire Foster, PhD, and From Ma, were suspended. An internal email from November 5th, the FBI's National Election Command Post, which compiles and sends on complaints since the SF field office a long list of accounts that may warrant additional action. Holy cow. Based on what? Let's see what they're trying to base it on. The National Election Command Post NESP is requesting assistance from SF regarding coordination with Twitter. This coordination, telling you people it's gonna be coming to the courts, and somewhere there's a judge just going, fuck, this is gonna wind up in my courtroom. The national, specifically, the NECP has made aware of tweets by certain accounts that may warrant additional action due to the accounts being utilized to spread misinformation about the upcoming election. Specifically, they are requesting the following: coordination between SF and Twitter to determine whether accounts identified below have violated Twitter's term of service and may be subject to any actions deemed appropriate by Twitter. Oh my goodness. The issuance of preservation letters regarding the accounts identified below in order to preserve subscriber information and content information. The issuance of preservation letters regarding the accounts identified below in order to preserve subscriber information and content information pending the issuance of legal process. So they were actually looking at the possibility, I guess, of taking legal action against these people. That's interesting. Any location information associated with the accounts of Twitter will voluntarily provide to aid the FBI and assigning any follow-up deemed necessary to the appropriate FBI field office. 25 accounts. Goodness gracious. To me, unless I would have been like, give me a court order saying that I have to do shit or fuck off. I mean, and the thing of it is you shouldn't have to depend on a private company to protect you from the government. You shouldn't have to do that. But because of all of this bullshit right here, you do. Agent Chan passed the list on to his Twitter folks. Basically, the list of Twitter accounts which we believe are providing your terms of service by submitting false information about the time, place, or manner of the upcoming elections. Let us know if you decide any action against these accounts based on our tipper to you. Also, let us know if we need to issue a preservation letter, as we intend to start a legal process for these accounts. Thanks for your consideration. Wow. Oh, God. And they include his pronouns? The FBI includes the opponent. Anyways, when I am having a one-on-one conversation with you, I'm not referring to you in the third person. So why the fuck do I need to know your pronouns? Why? Oh my God. Let's keep going. Let's just keep going. Twitter then replied with a list of its actions taken. No mercy shown to actor Billy Baldwin. Thank you for your patience as our team assessed the accounts that you flagged. We've completed our review and taken the following action on some of the accounts. Permanently suspended for policy violation, ban evasion, platform manipulation, excessive misinformation strikes. But the issue is for the government to try to decide whether or not a private company should even be looking into these accounts. Like, and then so temporarily suspended for spam behaviors. I get that. They do have rules about spam. But they would not have done anything if it hadn't been with the FBI. Twitter themselves could not catch this shit. Somebody from the FBI had to come to them and say, oh, we have issues, we have problems with this, you might want to take a look. In regards to your question about a preservation letter, it is a good way to ensure that the data hasn't been purged from our system before legal process is filed and processed. Internally, the contact for submitting those is the same. Wow. Many of the above accounts were satirical in nature. Nearly all, with the exception of Baldwin and RSP Network, were relatively low engagement, and some were suspended. Most with a generic thanks Twitter letter. Billy Baldwin, if the Supreme Court releases Trump tax return, Trump goes to prison. Full stop. Yes or no, do you think Elon Musk is using Twitter to help deliver the midterm elections to the Republicans? Why exactly did they have problems with Billy Baldwin? Both of these were opinions, so I kind of get why Twitter, definitely opinion. Like, this is kind of weird. It's all very strange. Very strange. Hello, we're going to let you know that we have reviewed your appeal and your account features will remain locked and limited for a allotted time or pending completion assigned tasks due to violations of the rules. Attempted voter suppression, including attempted voter intimidation or providing false information about voting or registering to vote or any unlawful activity is prohibited under our rules. You can review these guidelines. But basically, without them ever being officially charged with a crime, the FBI was telling Twitter this is voter suppression and it's unlawful. When told the FBI flagging Lexi Tola replied, "My thoughts initially include one, seems like a prima facie 1A violation. Holy cow. Me with the reach of an amoeba. 3, what else are they looking at?" Fair questions. Fair questions. "I can't believe the FBI is policing jokes on Twitter. That's crazy," said Tiberius Ford. Let's see. Let's take a look at him and see. So I mean, before all this, he had a very small account. Just because he sounds funny, let's do this. Be verified. No, there's scratch blah. In a letter to former Deputy General Counsel and former top FBI lawyer Jim Baker on September 16th, 2022, legal exec Stacia Cardew outlines the results of her soon-to-be weekly meeting with DHS, DOJ, FBI, and the officer of the Director of National Intelligence. Holy crap! How often does any company in any situation have to meet with these people? Like, and it was over jokes. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why these private companies had to have regular meetings with these type of government officials. Please see below for a summary of the elections related work I completed today, Wednesday, September 16th. Government Industry Sync. It's interesting. I participated on a monthly, soon to be weekly 90-minute meeting. Oh, were they having soon to be weekly 90-minute meetings with? Ugh. The level of willingness to coordinate with government about what you can post and what you can't post is insane. Again, somewhere there is a lawyer and there's a judge that's going, crap. This is going to wind up in my courtroom, you fuckers. And they're having to remind themselves, I love my job, I love my job. Foreign adversaries are amplifying themes being advanced by domestic actors to undermine the legitimacy of the election. USG specifically referenced vote by mail. I specifically asked if there were any impediments with the ability of the government to share classified information or other relative information with the industry. The FBI was adamant that no What? What are we? No impediments to sharing classified information. I asked if the USG was tracking foreign threats related to non-presidential races. On silence. The government is not tracking foreign interference or threats related to down ballot races. DHS has created a chart of key dates in the election process at the state level. They are confirming information with the states this week. It should get us a summary chart of key dates next week. I don't understand. That policy tweeted about the meeting with legal review. As the only Twitter representative to speak, I raised my disappointment in the lack of my involvement directly to policy comms. It was a missed opportunity to document some key points of the meeting from our perspective. Okay. Project Heron. I met with legal, trust, and safety and public policy stakeholders to discuss an intervention under consideration regarding labeling election results. I was concerns about feasibility, and I relayed first-hand experience with news media mistakes during a challenge-clean primary season. I separately met with Sam and Matt to discuss worst-case scenario planning. I will meet them again with them again tomorrow on the project. Why did they need to do any of this? Why? Civic integrity labeling. Enforcement on our extended civic integrity policy begins tomorrow, Thursday, September 17th. I provided feedback on a scenario planning document that includes approving language of the labels. I also reviewed a moment that will lead to vote by mail claims, consulted with outside counsel on the inclusion of one tweet, and provided content-related advice to the curation team. Wow. Account security upgrades. On Thursday, September 17th, over 2,300 high-risk politicians and journalist accounts will be prompted to upgrade their security settings. And I mean, yeah, I could see why you might want to do that. That's probably, number 4 is probably a good idea. See description from yesterday. I don't know what that was. I reviewed and approved 1, the comms plan, and 2, the email to external stakeholders. I also told public policy of the 14 accounts that needed additional attention due to missing email addresses. I was closely with Matthew on additional edits to the board narrative and the accompanying chart. I handled the following escalations. Responded to DHS regarding information they provided on a Facebook operation. Facebook is, man, leave us out of this. Leave us out of this is what Facebook is saying right now. We found no anomalous activity. Okay. Worked with Angela to try to get this terrible impersonation count between the island conspiracies impersonating a DCCC staffer whose dad died in 9/11 pending. Oh boy. That's rough. That's rough for somebody that's getting impersonated and they lost their dad on 9/11. I can't imagine having to deal with that. That would be rough. Board update. I work closer with Matthew on additional edits to the board narrative and the accompanying chart. The board narrative. The board has to have a narrative, y'all. We gotta make sure we have our story straight. That's what that sounds like to me. Slash a specific tweet on Illinois use of modern modems to transmit election results and potential violation of the civic integrity policy. Except they do use the tech in limited circumstances. Schedule a meeting with OHS Secretary of State Media Director. With Ohio Secretary of State Media Director. Why did they need to meet with the State of Ohio Media Director? I live in Ohio. Do your damn job instead. Y'all. working with the @gov to ensure we handle the verification of the Ohio Speaker of the House. I mean, that kind of makes sense, I guess. Follow up on the follow-up on Dubuque County verification request, Lisa. Some of this is a little bit innocuous. They want to appropriately get specific accounts verified so that people know when it is that they're interacting with a legit government entity. I mean, that's kind of innocuous, I suppose. Solicited additional information from Yole on product functionality and limitations around retweeting labeled content so we can explain to DNC. Democratic National Committee. Why do you need to defend anything? You're a private company. You can do. You're supposed to be able to do whatever the fuck you want. Why do you need to explain any of it to DNC? Why are they looking for an explanation? Like, Lincoln Project is not pleased that their video is labeled under SAM, SAMM. Bridget is driving that interaction. I guess she's in communication with them about it, I think is what that means. Allow listed at Don Winslow and Springsteen. I'm trying to remember what allow listed meant. In addition, the columns work on the security upgrades. And this, kind of talks about my shock there. The Twitter execs writes when she was quickly asked if there were impediments to the sharing of classified information with industry. The answer? FBI was adamant no impediments. Let's just share Twitter all the things. Something going on with the Ayatollah? Let's share what's going on with the Ayatollah. Let's share what we know about that, shall we? This is we're in a sharing mood. Like what? Like what kind of classified information? And how was any classified information that was shared with them kept safe? And when these reporters were allowed access to all these emails and stuff, was there any classified information that got shared with them? I have questions. The passage underscores the unique one big happy family vibe between Twitter and the FBI. Sharing is caring. If y'all didn't know that, sharing is caring. Yeah, one big happy fucking family. That's what we are here. Let's continue. This passage underscores the unique one big happy family. Yada yada yada. With what other firm would the FBI blithely agree to no impediments to classified? I know, right? But don't let the president, when he's president, just before he leaves office, take any classified stuff tomorrow ago. But sure, let's share all the things with Twitter. Let's just share all the things. But don't let the former president of the United States, while he's still in office, take anything classified with him to Mar-a-Lago, because that would be a danger to democracy, people. I mean, really? Really? God! I'll say it again. Somewhere there is a judge that's going, holy cow, this is going to wind up in my courtroom. And I hate it. They hate it. They're literally, if they could, they would literally be taking their phone and throwing it across the room because they're going, what the hell is wrong with these people? At the bottom of that letter, she lists a series of escalations apparently raised at the meeting, which were already handled. I don't think that was supposed to be included in there. I'm not sure what this appears to be. What am I looking at? What happens when I click on it? Yeah, that was an error on their part. Okay. About one, she writes, flags a specific tweet on Illinois use of modems to transmit election results and possible violation of the civic integrity policy, except they do use that tech in limited circumstances. Another tool letter from January 2021 shows Twitter excessive processing an FBI list of possible violative conduct tweets. You have another letter from January shows Twitter excessive processing an FBI list of possible violative content tweets. You have been added as a participant. You can track your ticket here. Shira.twitter.biz. Mr. Sir, I can support these tweets reported by the FBI as violations of our policy. Comic Book Nerd 64. It seems like I've heard of Comic Books Nerd 64. Let's see. Oh. He hasn't tweeted anything since February 15th. Interesting. Here too, most tweets contained the same. Get out there and vote Wednesday trope and had low engagement. This is what the FBI spends its time on. Susan, United We Stand. So, Cuomo wants to imprison suspected COVID carriers, force vaccinations without due process. Things power-hungry madmen would do. This is our future, guys. If this get full control, if you are in Georgia, you better vote Wednesday. Who knows? Maybe some of these people really thought that they were supposed to be voting Wednesday. Maybe that's what was going on. They were like, let's vote Wednesday. That's absolutely what we should do. That's absolutely what we have to do. We all need to vote Wednesday because Wednesday is when the election is being held. Oh, Jesus, Mary. Right, in this March 2021 email, an FBI lays out thanks a senior Twitter exec for the chance to speak to you and the team, then delivers a packet of products. Say what? Hey, hi Stacia, it was great speaking with you and the team at Twitter last week. I wanted to flag a few products that were released today and earlier in the week that may be assist to Twitter. Let us know if you have any questions. Oh, we got questions. The executive circulates the products, which are really DHS bulletins, stressing the need for greater collaboration between law enforcement and private sector partners. Please see the products that the FBI of public sector just provided to us. Please feel free to share with your team. Russian malign influence use of permissive social media platforms. Heightened domestic violence is threat to persist in 2021. Iranian influence efforts primarily use online tools to target U.S. audience remain easily distractible for now. Thanks. See ya. Okay. Hmm. It's just wild. The ubiquity of the 2006 Russian interference story, as stated pretext for building out the censorship machine, can't be overstated. It's in August out 9/11 inspired the expansion of the security state. So, let's read this. Russian malign influence use of information on social media platforms. It's an intelligent. Well, this is unclassified, so. We assess that Russian malign influence probably increasingly use U.S. social media platforms to offer more pervasive operating environments. We base this assessment on the reduced effectiveness of Russian influence operations on established U.S. social media platforms and current Russian proxy activity on these growing U.S. platforms. Our assessment also is based on the assumption that Russian malign influence see operational advantages in sites with less active effort to ban false information, offensive language, and inauthentic behavior. I will say this. At one time, I think during the early stages um, of the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, if you went to the White House Instagram page and you would look at their comments, holy crap, for whatever reason, they had just dozens and dozens of Russian accounts. Not even posted in English. They were just all in Russian. Like, it was just bombarded in Russian tweets. It was crazy. And Twitter was not, Instagram was not doing anything about this. How much of it was really even authentic interaction is a very good question. But it was wild at the time to go back and read. But I don't think this is still an issue. I mean, I haven't looked at it in a long time. I'm not really on Instagram much. But I'm wondering, I'm gonna check and see here if that's still the case. I don't think it is. There is. I am seeing some Russian comments. Let's go back a little bit here. I'll have to go back and see if I can get. So, I mean, I'm not saying that the Russians don't try to use social media to influence anything. We all do it. You honestly think that that our government never tries to do anything in relation to elections in other countries? No, everybody does it to each other. It's they all play the same. They all play the same game. 34, while the DHS in its products pans massive social media for offering operational advantages to Russians, it also explains that domestic violence extremist threat requires addressing information gaps. Information gaps challenges displayed the individualized nature of radicalization could be partially mitigated with increased collaboration between law enforcement and terrorism prevention efforts and private sector partners. We judge these partnerships would improve our ability to check changes in DV trends and provide early warning of potential attacks. I mean, I don't know that I can't sit here and tell you that there is nothing good that would possibly come out of social media working on some things with the government. But it's like, I just they've been proven to just walk a fine line. Is the problem. They've been proven to walk a very fine line. Hey, I want to shout out to Raven underscore radio on Twitch, who is restreaming me right now. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Be sure to tip your friendly neighborhood restreamer. Be sure to tip them. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe if you haven't already. Pretty cool dude. Pretty nice of him to restream me. Awesome. Yeah, I know. Focus, right? Focus. FBI, one case sent over so many possible violative content reports. Twitter personnel congratulated each other in Slack for the monumental undertaking of reviewing them. Again, somewhere there is a judge that just wishes he could just bang his head against a wall. Anyone need help review the tweets forwarded in the FBI report on possible violative content? +1. We can help on SI, I'm thinking. Thank you all so much for your help on monumental undertaking. But how much of it was legitimate? That's the problem. It just. And I wouldn't even be. It just comes wild with everything else that they've already tweeted. That. Lord, give me strength. 36. There were multiple posts of entry into Twitter for government flagged reports. This letter from Agent Chan to Roth references Teleporter, a platform through which Twitter could receive reports from the FBI. All right, here we go. Twitter folks, just got something hot off the press today. Please be on the lookout for a teleporter message from me with 2 documents to download. Thanks. Look here, this communication contains neither recommendations nor conclusions of the FBI, is the property of the FBI, and is loaned to your agency. And its contents or attachments are not distributed outside your agency. The fact that you're sending emails, which you have to tell people not to fucking do that. I need a pillow. I need a pillow to sleep into. Just, it is problematic to me that you have to tell people you really should share this. These attachments are for your eyes only. It's not. It just. Reports also came from different agencies. Here, an employee recommends bouncing content based on evidence from DHS, etc. We're sharing this as it doesn't look like they were actioned yesterday. Given the evidence we received from DHS, etc., I'd lean towards batting. Batting the URL of bouncing the videos, to be honest, given the accusations, but relatively low visibility. If you are a judge out there, some right now, you're listening to this, and you want one of these cute little pillows because you're like me. It's from the Squish a Booze collection, and you're like me, and you're really needing something soft and cuddly to like take your frustrations out, something that you can't hurt, but it's soft and cuddly. I'll hook you up if you're needing one of these. Because I can tell you right now, somewhere there's a judge out here. You're going to be needing this because this is winding up in your fucking courtroom. State government also flagged content. Twitter, for instance, retweets reports via the Partner Support Portal, an outlet created by the Center for Internal Security. Partner organization to the yes. There is a partner support. There's a partner support. There's so much going on. There's so much that they have to do that we have to have a port. Oh, fuck. My cat is wondering, why are you screaming? Because, honey, I want you to understand. Our government is large and screwed up. It is. It is large and it is screwed up and it tries to control way too much shit. Yeah. It's true. Well, let's read on. I'll prove it to you. Now, what happened to my mouse, though? There we go. Here's my mouse. Twitter. For instance, oh wait, now I read that. Why was no action taken? Below Twitter execs. Receiving an alert from California officials by way of our partner support portal. Debates whether to act on a Trump tweet. Don't silence elected officials, you dumb. I think this one may be making me more mad than all of the other Twitter files that we've released combined. It's insane to me. Okay, let's read this. Relevant ECs 15, whatever the hell. Public observation from our voting law compliance handbook. Jurisdiction count ballots through a delayed process in EC 1510. What am I even reading? Hey team, the Casas vote reported a voting law compliance handbook by I have posted their ask below. They are requesting feedback on the tweet and why Twitter didn't take any action. Ballots in California are only counted by local election officials in an open and transparent process. This tweet undermines voters' confidence that their votes will be fairly and properly counted. Please see relevant election codes, relevant ECs, RE public observation from our voting law compliance handbook. And that must be a case, so that's a link to the handbook itself. I get it now. Okay. I would like to watch how the ballots get counted on election night to see how it works. Is this process open to the public? Please contact your county election official to ask if there are COVID-19 specific instructions related to election observers. Yes, the entire process from the opening of the vote by mail ballot envelopes to the counting of the ballots on election night is open to the public. Contact your local election official for more information on observing the process on election night. Additionally, to test the accuracy of the counting machines prior to the official certification of election results, each county election official must conduct a public manual count of the ballots cast in 1% of the precincts, or a two-part public manual count. The ballots counted are chosen at random by the election officials. Relevant ECs to RE counties as entities who county jurisdictions count ballots through a detailed process. Okay, so the response to this was to clarify, is there asked Twitter review or to explain why no action was taken on a previous review? Why no action taken? This report came in through our partner support portal. So I guess that this was the tweet in question. California hired a pure Sleepy Joe Democrat firm to count and harvest votes. No way Republicans got a fair shake. Lawyers get started. California's in big trouble. Vote Trump and watch the greatest comeback of them all. Also, New York and Illinois. Go for it. Yeah, I don't know. But see, some people would say that the answer to this is not to try to delete a particular post, but to rather counteract it, counter speech. That if something like this is being discussed, then the government can counteract it, but the government should not be trying to prevent it from talking. So here is one thing that I've been trying to say before. 1,000 years ago, a couple thousand years ago maybe, something like this, if they wrote something like this, it would have been on a cave wall somewhere. Would have taken some ogre or some kind of other pain and been like, California, Hey, you're a sleepy Joe Democrat. And it wouldn't even be words. It would just be like, stiff figures or something. But over the years, the process of the way that we communicate, the way we share our opinion, and the way that we express our thoughts and our feelings, which are our free speech, protected right, has changed. We're not using cave walls anymore. We're not using quill and paper. We're no longer even just using the printing press that was in like 1480. We are using a much widespread and more quickly free-flowing information. And the law is not keeping up with it. The law is not keeping up with the way that these things work. They're not keeping up with the technology on it. It's just the way we express free speech is a reflection of the technology that you have on hand at the time. And what does the law really say about this situation? It's just kind of crazy. But again, if there's a judge, or if you're needing one of these as much as I am, I'll hook you up. I got you. Video was reported by the Election Integrity Project, EIP, at Stanford, apparently on the strength of information from the Center for Internet Security. Okay, so see that, I can suppose you could make the argument reporting a tweet, hey, is that counter information? See, an organization like this, the Election Integrity Project, that can be a source of counter speech. But should that counter speech include them reporting something that they don't like to get it taken down? That's the problem. That's the problem that we're having. In my opinion. But I'm just a commentator on the internet that wants to scream into soft, cuddly pillows. So, it's just insane. So let's continue. This is a very long and legal heavy video, but essentially claims the PA election workers opened the inner envelopes on ballots for election day and called people to correct their ballots prior to election day. According to CIS, escalated via EIP. So many abbreviations, so little time. Escalated via EIP. The video misrepresents 1, PA law, 2, the PA Supreme Court decision, and 3, the affidavits shown in the video. Details in the thread, thoughts on how to handle this one. Counter speech. You don't like what it says, counteract it. Put out your own very long and legal heavy video. I don't understand people. I don't understand people. Raven Radio on Twitch says that's right. Technology advances, changes many things. It does. And technology is not keeping up with it. It's just that the law is not keeping up with the technology. But at the same time, the answer is counter speech. Not telling other people what they're allowed to speak on, what they're allowed to say. That is the way it works. You don't like what some very long legal video says, counteract it. But telling people they're not allowed to watch it. And telling them whether or not they're allowed to say it is a problem. It's a problem. And why there are so many people that are not understanding this, and we're going to talk about it a little later about some of the, one of the people is that is not understanding this. People, they make me angry. They just make me angry. Let me know in the chat whether or not you think that I need something a lot stronger to drink than Pepsi Wild Cherry. Maybe we should have a game night later. Shoot some things up at a game. Take our frustration on imaginary digital characters instead of soft, cuddly ones. Alright. So, I don't even know where the fuck we were anymore. The law doesn't prohibit curing. It prohibits curing prior to 7 a.m. on election day. The author misrepresents this by stating that officials can't contact voters, whereas they can't do so until pre-canvassing starts. The author misrepresents the PASC decision by stating voters are not forbid from carrying ballots. PASC simply stated the law didn't require officials to offer an opportunity to cure. On the affidavits, these folks were contacted about having an opportunity to cure ballot. None of the examples do the affidavits state the election official called them and said the voter-specific ballot needed curing. The author of the video misrepresented this and claimed otherwise. I have questions. If that's confusing, it's because the CIS is a DHS contractor, described itself as partners with the Cyber and Internet Security Agency at the DHS. Reporting information to the EI-ISAC. If you spot misinformation or disinformation about your election jurisdiction on social media, you can submit it to the Election Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center. We'll work with app platforms and other partners to get it addressed. Anything on social media that's about your jurisdiction pertains to the administration or security of the 2020 general election and is false. Examples include but are not limited to dates of the election, mail ballot rules, information on ballots, polling place status, and election reporting procedures. So this was not, I guess this is a government I don't understand. I'm so confused. Probably because I'm not a lawyer. That I don't. If that's confusing, it's because the CIH is a DSH contractor. Why do they contract with these people? Send an email to misinformation at copy others in your organization or state who should also see the information, such as your chief of state election official. Include the following information: a screenshot of the social media post and, if possible, the URL, your name, role, jurisdiction, and official email address. That's just why this is misinformation. What will happen after we receive your email? We will verify the information. We ensure you are verified election officials or their representative, and they include all necessary information. If we don't know you, we may contact you or someone else in your office to verify your identity. Forwarded to our partners, the Cyber and Infrastructure Security Agency at the Department of Homeland Security. They will submit it to the relevant social media platforms for review. They may also share it with relevant federal agencies. So really, this has kind of been out there in the public for a while. It's just that this is really just putting it on blast in a way that it wasn't before. Because they had a whole website that explained to them what they were supposed to do. And they were knowingly and willingly Yes, this time Raven Radio is the time of rum and eggnog, except I have celiac disease, so it has to be gluten free. So this was something that was really kind of an open secret. We knew that they were helping gather this information and were assisting the Department of Homeland Security. But this is really just the first time that it's ever been put on blast the way that it has been. The EIP is one of a series of government-affiliated think tanks that mass review content. A list also includes the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Laboratory and the University of Washington Center for Foreign Policy. To take away what most people think of as the deep state is really a tangled collaboration of state agencies, private contractors, and sometimes state-funded NGOs. The lines become so blurred as to be meaningless. Twitter file researchers are moving into a variety of new areas now. Watch Barry Wise, Shellburner, MD, and this space for more soon. Yeah, I think I may have worked at one time for a company that was a third party that spent time looking through contents and tweets and rating social media content for truthfulness and accuracy and stuff of that nature. Whether or not they ever did anything specifically related to elections, I don't know. But yeah, it becomes kind of meaningless. It's crazy. Notice we have quite a few people watching right now on Rumble. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. And remember, the really cool thing, let me share this tab. The really cool thing is that you can send me money. I'm all about the Benjamins, baby. Not really. But yeah, if you think it's funny that I scream into a pillow, yeah, you can do that. All right, how long have we even been live for? How long are we going on? We are going on an hour and 45 minutes. Maverick wants to know if I'm done yet. No, baby, I'm not done because we gotta talk about Roth. We gotta talk about his bullshit. So, in case you haven't noticed, he did a report. He did a thesis on something. Let's see. I haven't had a chance to do this, but let's see if we can. See if we can find it. Joel Roth. And his lovely little thesis. It's kind of gotten buried. But Elon had tweeted it out. He talked about something something kind of interesting. And, nothing on the internet really dies. Let's check this out. Be careful what you post on the internet, because sometimes what you post on the fucking internet will come back and fucking bite you in the butt. Kind of like AP, when you have meltdowns. Yeah, Anarchy Princess. You have meltdowns on the internet and somebody captures it and replays it for the whole world to see. Kind of like that. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like that. Let's look at this here. What do we have here? Let's do this as a tab, I guess, instead of a... Look at all the tabs that I have open. You all don't want to see that. Let's do this differently. Hey, we are professionals here, people. We are professionals. So, as you can see here, he had a rather interesting little thing that he did. Yeah, and keep in mind, somebody at Twitter did this. That was concerned about all the things, that was concerned about or was supposed to be concerned about child pornography being on their platforms. They were busy writing stuff like this. Gay data, your off at dissertation and communication presented to the faculties of the University of Pennsylvania and partial fundamental requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Want to guess why this was a little controversial? Want to guess? If you're pissed off about 1776 RM, you should be reading this and saying, I have questions. So let's start at this from let's look a little bit at this immediately. This acknowledgement says the youngest of three siblings have always been able to follow in the impressive footsteps of my two older sisters. In high school, a physics teacher who had all three Rothschild in his class reacted to see my name on his register by saying, "You've got some awfully big shoes to fill." Oh. So these are all the people that he just has to thank. Nobody cares. So let's talk about Grindr and young kids, and whether or not they should have access to Grindr, and whether or not they can have access to Grindr safely. That's apparently what I've heard that this is about. Raven Radio. The cast name is Maverick, and I want you to look at all the scratches that I have. Yeah, he's a real nice cat. He's a really nice cat, and he's also an asshole, because all cats are assholes. So yeah, if you are pissed about 1776 RM and them allowing, sex offenders into their group, this should piss you off as well. Since its launch in 2009, the geosocial networking service Grindr has become an increasingly mainstream stream Here's a major and prominent part of gay culture, both in the United States and globally. Mobile applications like Grindr give users the ability to quickly and easily share information about themselves in the forms of text numbers and pictures. Mm. And connect with each other in real time on the basis of geographic proximity. I argue that these services constitute an important site for examining how bodies, identities, and communities are translated into data, as well as how data becomes a tool for forming, understanding, and managing personal relationships. Throughout this work, I articulate a model of networked interactivity that conceptualizes self-expression as an act determined by three, sometimes overlapping, sometimes conflicting sets of affordedness and constraints. 1. Techno-commercial structures of software and businesses. 2. Cultural and subcultural norms, more histories and standards of acceptable and expected content. And 3. Social political tendencies that appear to be, but in fact are not, fixed techno-commercial structures. In these discussions, Greiber serves as both a model of processes that apply to social networking more generally, as well as particular study into how network interactivity is complicated by the histories and particularities of Western gay culture. Over the course of this suggestion, I suggest ways in which users, and how old are these users that you're talking about? Policymakers and developers can productively recognize the liveliness, vitality, and durability of personal information that decides implementation and use of gay targeted social networking services. Specifically, I argue that through a focus on 1. Open-ended structures of interface design, clear and transparent articulation of service policies and the rationales behind them, and 3. Approaches to user information that promote data sovereignty. Designers, developers, and advocates can work to make social networking services, including Grindr, safer and more representative of the users throughout their data's life cycle. Let's see. I've heard reasons of why this is just so bad and why it aggravates people. So I'm wanting to get into the nitty gritty here. Let's see if this isn't allowing me to do much of a word search. I don't think. Obviously, nobody wants to listen to me read this entire fucking thing, so let's see if I can find an article here. But apparently, he advocates that young children should be allowed to use Grindr, apparently, in some way or another. This is according to Timcast, which is a far left leaning site. So, I mean, take with it what you will. But this is what Timcast had to say. Over the weekend, a myriad of decade-old controversial tweets from former Twitter head of Trust and Safety, Yoel Roth, surfaced regarding the former executive tech renewed criticism. Human traffic survivors and advocates Eliza Blue highlighted a 12-year-old tweet from Roth questioning whether high school students could meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers. Mind you, it was after after Elon took over, that certain people like AP was like, I can't stay on this platform anymore because Elon is controlling. Elon is a fucking fascist and he's just so dangerous. Meanwhile, the fucking head of Twitter safety can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teacher? What the actual fuck? So this was apparently the tweet that a man is charged with sexual misconduct with a minor even though the student was 18. They're in a position of safety over their students. Matthew Hirschfelder, a former choir teacher at Hawkwim High School in Washington State, had sex in his office in student days before she graduated. Then 33, he was charged with first-degree sexual misconduct with a minor, even though the student was 18 at the time. I mentioned this case yesterday and a link around it, but the issue it raises, especially whether a high school student can ever immediately consent with a teacher. There's just a bit more consent. What is there to... What is there to consider? At that point in time, you are in a position of authority where there is an imbalance of power between you and the person that you're engaging in that sexual contact with. Just, wait until she was days away from graduating. You couldn't control yourself and wait until she graduated. But besides that, if he said, oh, well, she was days away from graduating, I got away with it this time. I mean, what would be the big deal if I did it while they were a junior? It's just... She was close to graduating, and you couldn't keep it in your fucking pants until she graduated. Like, the age of consent in Washington is 16, but a statute outlaws a few specific sexual relationships, including between a teacher and a minor student who was at least 16 years old. In appeal, Hirschfelder argued the statute was meant to criminalize sexual misconduct between teachers and students who are aged 16 to 17, or the age exempt is about under the age of 18. This week, however, the state Supreme Court ruled that legislators had originally intended to outlaw teachers having sex with students under 21, the age cap for high school enrollment. The issue here is they want to protect students. They want to protect people who are going to try to be like, well... Because the risk that it could ultimately be faced by anybody under that teacher's influence and that teacher's control. I'm a fucking nobody, and I have to explain that to bullshit people like them. This week, out for the state Supreme ruled that blah 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 the age cap for high school enrollment. The court's decision reads: the legislature saw fit to criminalize sex between school employees and high school students.
We all have a cause that is...
Oh my goodness, I got sound playing from this.
Important to us.
Shit, hold on. Okay. There. I silenced it. You all shouldn't be able to hear it, even though I can. Trying to shut it up. It's fucking annoying. And I can't shut it up. Fuck you, Bonfire. I don't want to listen to you right now. The court's decision reads the legislature saw fit to criminalize sex between school employees and high school students, even those who reach the age of majority will register students. As a policy that recognizes the special position of trust and authority teachers hold over their students. Yeah. The ruling decision recast all registered students between the ages of 16 and 21 as incapable of consenting to sex, at least when it comes to school employees. Many states where the age of consent is 16 have similar laws. In teacher-student sex case in Pennsylvania, a judge ruled a high school student who is assigned to a teacher's class does not have the capacity to welcome that teacher's physical sexual conduct. Under these circumstances, the teacher's conduct is deemed unwelcomed. Unwelcome sexual conduct constitutes a sexually hostile educational environment, a form of sexual harassment, and sexual harassment constitutes discrimination on the basis of sex. I mean, it's a problem because the thing issue to me is how do you even know? Like, let's say fine. You know what? They were 18, should have been fine. How do you know that he's gonna stop with them being 18? You don't. You don't. You don't know that it's gonna stop there. You don't know that it's gonna end there. And the 15-year-olds that are also having class with that 18-year-old don't need to be exposed potentially to whatever's going on in their relationship. It's just not a good idea. It just isn't. It's really not even a good idea for teachers in college to be having sex with their students. Not necessarily mean that you automatically make it illegal, but it is certainly acceptable for colleges to have policies against it. Even male students could find themselves in a situation where what's going to be the result of me telling this teacher, no, I don't want to have sex with you. I have a girlfriend. I'm good. I get everything that I need from her. I don't need you. What happens when he chooses to tell them no? Can they be trusted to respond appropriately and not make that person's life a living hell because they told them no? And you can't. Idiot people. Just idiot people. Why do I have to explain this? Oh my god. Of course, teacher-student sex is a controversial topic even with students over the age of 21, which What did I just say? Many colleges have banned hot for teacher hookups. We don't legislate for these relationships from the outside, though, because we're talking about legal consenting adults. Things get messier when looking at cases like Hirschfelder's. If we draw the line at high school graduation opposed to at a student's 18th birthday, that means that a teacher having sex with a 20-year-old high school student could be outlawed, even though someone of the same age could legally engage in a sexual relationship with the teacher if they were in college. It's easy enough to understand the frustration of the dissenting judge in the case who wrote, the majority opinion does not ultimately... What? The cat is looking at me right now and saying, Mommy's about to yell again. What doesn't make sense? Sorry. If you wanna read it, you can go to courts.wa.gov. You can read there. No, it makes perfectly fucking sense. The last thing anybody wants if the 20-year-old is still in fucking high school, which is a problem. They shouldn't be 20 years old and still in high school. They shouldn't be going to 16-year-old students and talking about their inappropriate about their relationship with their teacher and presenting it as normal to them. Because it's going to be like, well, if the 20-year-old is allowed to do that, why can't I do it? That's the problem. You think the other students aren't going to hear about their relationship, that it's not going to get out? Oh, I mean, okay. You know what? Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this tab. Roth provided a link to a November 2010 Salon article as we tile student teacher sex. When is it okay? Never! Other surfeit tweets from Ross suggest the former tech executive ran a separate account, Autotrophic, which users noted appeared to have been scrubbed. Well, in 2011, Roth confirmed the existence of the now scrubbed account in March 2011 tweet, guilty as charged. Grad student I'm staying with, you're not that innocent. I know about your secret, dirty Twitter account. One tweeter retweeted one of Ross' Autotrophic tweets, according to another user. Hashtag agree. At Autotrophic, muscle bear with a beard hot, muscle bear with a beard holding a child is politically hotter. What the? Oh, God. Among the efforts to tweet the last social media series of tweets discussing pornography, Twitter will live to porn another. Today's stream is about all the things that pisses Renroll off and makes her mad. That's what today's stream is. I hope you all are enjoying the show. Because that's basically what all the things that make Renraw mad while doing a stream. That's what all this is. It's what's. Hey, later we're gonna have to do just a gaming stream later so that we can just clear our minds and of just all the garbage. because there's just so much. In 2012, the Ross said that awkward moment when you can't tell whether your neighbor has a really loud infant or is just watching really loud porn. This explains a lot, Musk said in response. Looks like Yole is arguing in favor of children being able to access adult internet services in a PhD thesis. Must have provided speech out of Roth University of Pennsylvania. He's proposing it was worth considering, including individuals under the age of 18 on gay and queer dating apps, including Grindr. Okay, we need to see what page this was, because I ain't going through all this shit. I am not reading his entire freaking thing. Well, that's kind of what I need to do here. I need to figure out a way to let me search this. Hold on one second here. Because it's not giving me page numbers for anything. And sometimes it's a good idea to look at, I can't believe I'm gonna fucking say this, but to look at all the context. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. So let's see. Download. Show in the Finder. Okay. Let's see here. So this thing is going to allow me to show you where specifically. All right. I'm actually going to have to use the restroom, so I am going to be right back. Go. A cat is sleeping soundly on the bed behind me. And I have gotta explain something to my dad. Okay. Oh, so if you look for the word teenagers, there is apparently, in each case, public house of assaults are framed in largely the same way. Older predatory men taking advantage of impressionable, naive teenagers who have stumbled their way on their way to Grindr. And then it's where teenager is used again. On page 40, on page 248. These accounts have committed the kinds tropes of online child safety narratives, the essentially dangerous nature of new media, the need to impose strict top-down controls on how minors use the internet. Yeah, some of these discussions even occurs to your condition of the new medium of gay targeted social networking may be crucial social outlet for gay, bisexual, and questioning. What? No, no. My child does not need to be on that kind of. Perhaps is truly representative of an increasingly absent demand among young adults for networked spaces to engage with peers about their sexuality, but it's worth considering how, if at all, the current generation of popular sites, gay networking, and social media might fit into an overall queer social landscape that increasingly includes individuals under the age of 18. Even the source of extensive content management, Grindr may well be too lewd or too hookup oriented to be safe and age appropriate for teenagers. No, really. But the fact that people under 18 are on these services already indicate that we can't really dismiss the platform out of hand as a locky for queer youth culture, rather than merely trying to absolve themselves of legal responsibility, or worse, trying to drive out teenagers entirely. Service providers should instead focus on crafting safety strategies that can accommodate a wide variety of. I don't know who needs to hear this, but no, your 16-year-old questioning child who's deciding that, who at the time of their life are deciding that they might be gay or think they might be gay or whatever, does not need to be on hookups apps. They don't. It's, why do kids need to be encouraged to use an app like that even if it's for heterosexual relationships. I just no, no. All right, this is what I think that I'm gonna. Well, wait a minute. No, there's one other thing that had me mad that I wanted to look at. There was one last thing, and then I think that we're gonna call it a night. If I come back on later, it's gonna be to do a game, and I'll probably do that game. Maybe just do that on Twitch. But there was someone that blocked me after. Hashtag Ruby Files. Let's see. Can't find it here. So it's something called the Ruby Files, and she insists that what she was showing was somehow better than what the other people were doing. And let's see if I can find what she said. Because the amount of shade that she tried to throw at the other people they were they're doing these Twitter files was just bizarre. It was really bizarre. And I didn't entirely understand it. But you gotta understand how news reporting works. If you don't understand how news reporting works, you're not going to entirely understand why people were doing things the way that they were doing them. I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to find it now. Because it sounds like she was being a bit butthurt. Oh, yeah. There we go. Here we go. I found it here. And I'm going to have to send it to my other... I'm going to have to go into my... I do have two different accounts. One of them is kind of an old business account. I'm going to have to read that there because she blocked me after I called her out. So, here's the thing she said. She was talking about... Let me share this tab here. I don't have Twitter Blue on this one, so I can't. Breaking: U.S. political misinfo Twitter detection AI list. She will go on to say that these are the real Twitter files. And I'm like, huh? I have obtained exclusive access to documents that have never been publicly revealed. The information I'm about to share with you has never been released. This information is of public concern, and the below thread includes my reporting on it. Now, I mean, there's... Okay. Not anything posted here that's really, a big deal. So let's continue. I have thought long and hard about whether I should release this information. I've never understood that. Why do people have to think this shit through? If it's information of public concern, why did you have to think long and hard about it? Ultimately, the public has a right to this information. Therefore, I'm releasing it to you, despite my deep concern about what this means and the possible implications. Okay. Unlike the other writers involved in the Twitter files, I do not have access to any direct information from Twitter. My information is from a direct source. So, I do not have legal protection these other writers have. I am taking the risk anyway. So let's break down this tweet here. To any direct information from Twitter. My information is from a direct source. And that direct source information is who? I don't understand what the fuck is going on. This thread is super cringy to me. I've never been focused on people or personalities. That type of reporting bores me and does nothing to help people understand. You have to understand the personalities involved. You have to. Because you have to be able to call those people out. It does help people not only find out the truth, but fight the truth. You need to know who it is that you're fighting. That type of reporting bores me and does nothing to help people understand the truth. I am focused on data, therefore, decided to find the data on my own. What I found was shocking. I received 2 separate files with thousands of data cells. I will only be releasing a small portion of it and still have a lot to go through. It is important to understand the context of the information. Yeah, like who gave you the information? How did they have access to the information? You know, important, important stuff like that. I mean, it's just, yeah. I will not be sharing the tweets that accompany the detection. Flagging lists for the perimeters I am about to share to protect the privacy of those mentioned in them and the original accounts who posted the information, which were public. Oh my fucking god. This lady is annoying the crap out of me. They publicly posted them on Twitter. Not all of the tweets flagged were removed. Some are still up, but what is important to understand is that they were flagged at all. Why did certain words trigger the algorithm? Why were these terms being actively monitored? This is rich. Do not share my reporting or screenshots without properly citing me as the author. All this will be on blockchain to show proof of authorship and ownership as well, so don't even try. Just what was Twitter's? Oh god, what was Twitter searching for? These tweets were flagged for removal algorithmically. Some were held up, some reversed. We also searched for context. These are phrases we judged within the right context were indicators of misinfo. Context was important because a journalist could tweet these and it would be okay. One or more of them was fine. In combination and in context, they were used to judge the tweet as misinformation. To the left of the detection box, you can see the flat tweet along with an algorithm and a score. To the right, you can see the rating, annotation, and decision. Not every auto detection of these words resulted in removal. Some stayed up, some were removed. I will not share an example of the tweets applied to these detections. I'm only sharing the words parsed in the detection list. Final reminder, not every tweet was removed. Why were these tweets monitored by Twitter as U.S. political misinformation? I just don't really understand this. Why would you not share the tweet itself? But these are the real Twitter files, not curated internal Slack messages and not screenshots that Twitter executives had shared with me. This was my response. Are you fucking kidding me? What kind of butthurt I'm jealous of Barry Eyes subtweet is this? How does a real journalist not understand the importance of these internal messages and what it proves? You care about algorithms, apparently. You want the algorithm to demonize, not the people themselves that were behind the algorithm. That's what you're telling me here. That's what you're really saying, bitch. Just be honest. And then notice I commented she blocked me. But I told him, Elon said it best. Under the pressure from hundreds of activist employees, Twitter's deplatform Trump's a sitting U.S. president, even though they themselves acknowledge that he didn't violate the rules. The issue that they were upon is about people. The reason why this matters is people. It's about the people behind the data. Sometimes people and the personalities involved matter. Because it's about people. And I know from firsthand experience, all you do is curate things when it comes to the news. You curate resources. You curate quotes. You curate sources. You curate images that are included so that you can accurately represent who, what, where, and why in any given situation. That's the way it works. I gotta fix something real quick. My computer is just being really loud. I thought the noise is something else. But for the love of God, when you are writing an article, you know what you curate? This is what you curate. You curate the who, what, where, and why. News information is as much about people as it is data. If you're leaving out the who, you're leaving out important data. All news is curated. So then she goes out and lists all these other things that it's hard to even figure out what it all means because she's just giving you screenshots without explaining any of it. Like, make it make sense. I don't understand what we're looking at here. So she said here, I have received 2 separate files with thousands of data cells. I have only been released a small portion of it and still have a lot to go through. It is important to understand the contents of the information. But you're leaving out the who, you're leaving out important context. Just so again, set to the left of the text box, you can see the flat tweet along with the algorithm and the score. To the right, you can see the rating, annotation, decision. So I'm assuming that that's what we're supposed to be looking at here. I'm looking for the scores that she talked about. Like, I don't. Does she go on to explain any of it? Is there any way to know if using these words initiated permanent suppression on Twitter? They're still being suppressed. I'm telling this person, these are the ones we should be focusing on first, and then the ones being dropped in the last few days. Raw data / AI, anything retains better than images, even if those are timestamped. I'm going to ask, what am I even looking at? Not important. Reporting is about who but also what, when, where, and why. Sometimes the personalities involved matters. I have no idea what her screenshots prove. I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'm not a coder. Not a coder. So that's why I'm looking at this and I'm going, what? If you're a coder, you understand how to read this shit. And Elon gets that. He understands the personalities behind this, that they mattered. And he understands that news reporting is curated. And she didn't show us that I don't believe any of these screenshots she has on here show a rating. Nothing. Like I don't understand. Object name, machine detections array. I don't get it. I don't understand. But you guys, everything that you read when it comes to news is curated. That's the way the news fucking works. Let's say I'm just doing a story about a local house fire. I have to best curate the information that's going to tell you who, what, where, and fucking why. So I have to go through and I have to figure out who it is that I'm going to interview, curate the quotes that is going to answer all those questions. I may interview 5 different people. But if my editor has told me you have a 2,000 word limit, are all of those, am I going to include all of those people in that report? Am I going to include all of their quotes? No, I can't. It's not possible. Even with media being digital, you still have word limits because as an editor, you understand not everybody is going to read these. It makes absolutely no fucking sense why she is dogging them as they're reporting as being insufficient. This reads as being jealous and butthurt. It's crazy. All right, well, y'all, I gotta go do something that's not depressing. Oh. All right, everyone. Just remember, this might be you. This might be the universe. But it takes all of us, because we're all, compared to the universe, this is all of us. But it takes all of us to fill that universe and make the universe what it needs to be. So, you are an important part of this universe, and we need you. God bless you. Perhaps see you later to do a gaming stream. Adios, people.